All right, we're back. We took a quick break, our halfway through break, almost halfway through. And we are talking about Drg Drsya Viveka, the difference between the seer and the seen, which it started out talking about the difference between the seer and the seen, but we've reached the point where we have realized that there actually is no difference between the seer and the seen. There's only seeing. So in the language of this text, there is only awareness. There is no aware of and person being aware. Those are concepts created by thoughts. There is actually only awareness itself. So, let's hit verse 20. Every object is composed of elements. These elements appear to exist as separate phenomenal aspects, but in reality are not separate from their home ground, which is awareness. Okay, and I'm skipping the latter half of this verse, mainly because this is an ancient text, so they only believe there to be 5 elements, and he's actually going through them. In modern age, we actually now know there are more elements, and there is absolutely, it's redundant. There is no need for us to go through each element and explain how they exist as separate phenomenal aspects. Okay. All you need to know from this verse is objects are composed of elements. The elements make things appear as separate and different. Yet everything, which come together to form everything animate and inanimate, nature, animals, humans, and even the gods themselves, arise in and are not separate from awareness. Everything, your concept of God itself, upon inspection, is just a concept that arises in your awareness, or in awareness. So you can't even say your awareness, because we've already proved who the concept of I, you, yourself, are a concept. There is only awareness. Everything else is conceptual, created by this power to create something out of nothing. Name and form are merely concepts. That's what we're talking about. And by name and form, this comes up in Buddhist talks too, and it's overused. Concepts. Concepts are concepts. I mean, we have no doubt on what a concept is at this point. So, tablet, this rectangular thing itself in a red case, these are all concepts attributed by my mind. And it goes further to name it as tablet. Now, they're merely concepts. They're thoughts. Nothing more, actually. Everything, my mind can trick me and say, oh, but it feels so real. But the notion of feeling itself and what I'm feeling is thought. The notion of what I am feeling, that I am feeling something, is also a thought. It's all just thoughts that come and go within awareness. But it's not a bad thing, even though it's the cause of all suffering, but it's still not bad. There actually is no suffering, and we'll get to that. But they can serve as pointers back to the awareness in which they arise. You can use everything you experience to your benefit. And this is where this text almost flicks on the switch to enlightenment. I mean, it is so efficient, and it's now giving you easy, efficient, practical methods for enlightenment to just come on. It's great. There's no need. I mean, it helps But the way he's going to go through this is you don't have to sit and meditate. You don't have to fast. You actually don't have to be a vegetarian and do all the millions of things that help facilitate the ability to come to this understanding. But if you can do it without those things, you can. And he's showing you how, right? So, everything we're perceiving, name and form. Again, let's go with vision, since that's the focus he likes to go with. Anything you see can serve as a pointer back to the awareness in which they arise. When awareness recognized and awakens to itself, there is uninterrupted abiding as awareness, even as name and form continue to arise. So, here's an example I like to use. When we're little, or even ancient man, saw the sun rise and the sun set, we actually see a sun come up and go down and go away. Once we as people learned that that's not actually happening, we are now aware that there are planets orbiting a star. And the sunrise and the sun setting is really just the rotation of our planet and its relative position to the sun. We know that when the sun sets, the sun is not actually gone anywhere. We still use the terms sunrise and sunset. We still see the sun appear and the sun disappear. But once we know that it actually hasn't gone anywhere, there's no reason to freak out when it's nighttime and start to do a bunch of superstitious prayers and dances in the hopes that the sun's going to come back the next day. There's no reason to create a mythology of the sun, where it goes, and try to figure out where it goes. It hasn't gone anywhere. Once we know this, we still experience sunrise and sunset. It appears and disappears. But we know what's really going on, so it doesn't matter. In the same way, once we realize there is only awareness and everything is the result of our own superimposition or projection or story creating power, there's no reason to do any superstitious activities to quote unquote get what we want. And what we thought were real now becomes superstitions. This whole concept of, man, I've got to work hard and make as much money as possible so I can have more money than the next guy. And when I lose money, I'm upset because that money is now gone, and that money is a serious object that I'd have to use to buy things to make myself happy. And I'm in love with that girl, and I need to have that girl because I'll be complete without her, and I need to start a family, and I want this, and I love that, and I love this food. Therefore, I want to eat this food, but I need to lose weight because I eat too much food. All of that is superstition. Even the core tenets of society of you need to work so you can live a luxurious, comfortable life, and you need to worry about the next election because this presidential candidate versus the other presidential candidate could possibly harm you with their legislation. It all becomes superstition once you realize there is no you to be harmed. No harm can come upon you based upon, within the story we've created, sure. But no harm can come upon you. No harm that happens to the characters within your story can actually affect you. Okay? There are two types of concentration, which may be practiced in order to realize the ultimate truth of non-dual awareness. This is getting good. 1. Object-centered concentration. And 2. Object-less concentration. The former may be divided into two types. Concentration that is associated with thought and concentration associated with sound. He's moving into hearing now, which is interesting. And my guess is possibly because there's a lot less audio stimuli to surf through. In my personal experience, if I focus on vision, there's so much going on visually. If I focus on what I'm actually hearing, there's not that much going on, unless you're in a big city. All right. So he's saying you can concentrate. An easy way to enlightenment, he's saying, is you can concentrate on your thoughts or you can concentrate on sounds. All movements, is the next verse, all movements that arise in the mind are to be treated as objects. And they are. Object meaning subject and object. Anything you are aware of. Awareness, remember, it consists of an illusory subject and object. Anything you are aware of is the object. The person who is aware is subject. Here, awareness becomes the subject itself. I'm talking grammatically. Awareness becomes the subject itself that is aware of an object. The Buddhists will actually go a step further and talk about how once you think of awareness as awareness then has become an object, and the awareness of that awareness is the new subject. But then when you think about that, that becomes the new object, and you get this infinite loop of subject and object, which shatters your reality even further. Next verse. I am being, awareness, bliss, unattached, self-luminous, and free of separation. This understanding is known as inquiry, in which ideas are present. Samadhi. Being, awareness, bliss is a translation of what you will often hear: existence, consciousness, bliss. Satchit Ananda. Awareness is a better word, in my opinion, than consciousness. Consciousness is, it just doesn't seem like a real world in our colloquial language. Awareness is good. We know what awareness means. Awareness is awareness. Being, I think a better word is existence. The tablet itself, it's not that it doesn't exist, it's that it's not real. In fact, it is proof of existence itself. Existence itself is taking the form of the tablet. You cannot use exists as an adjective. This is an error in language, not necessarily an error in your mind or reality. We say the tablet exists and unicorns don't exist. That's just an error in language itself, because when something that exists, existence is not a quality like red or blue or hot or cold. It's not an adjective. It's not a trait. What we're really saying is, I'll show you why grammatically why it doesn't work. When we say the tablet exists, we are asserting its existence in that sentence. We're saying the tablet, something that exists, has a quality that of existence. But when we say the unicorn doesn't exist, we're saying a unicorn, which exists, has the quality of non-existence. You created a paradox, but that paradox is a result of just language. It's just a bad quality of language in general. It's not a real paradox. It's just language is not efficient enough. Language tends to give a lot of errors. We can't take it that seriously. But what we're really trying to say when we say the tablet exists is existence has taken the form of a tablet. When we say a unicorn doesn't exist, we're saying existence has not taken the form of a unicorn. So when I look at the tablet, it is important to not say to myself what the mind is saying, I am a person looking at a tablet, this tablet exists. It's not really what's going on there. The tablet itself and anything I see and anything I hear and anything I perceive, including my thoughts, are proof of existence itself, because existence has taken a form of this. So when he's talking about existence, awareness, and bliss, he calls it being, awareness, and bliss. When other people say existence, consciousness, and bliss, that is the core reality. That's actually what's real. And what we have called reality before this, you as a separate self that is experiencing things that quote unquote exist around you, that is the story that we've superimposed or created out of what is nothing more than existence itself, awareness itself. We won't talk about the bliss component. That gets a little confusing. Okay. So inquiry in which the mind is free of distractions and attachment to objects of the senses, and mind is known as freedom from thoughts, is a type of samadhi. A mind that is free of thoughts is steady, like the unflickering flame of a lamp that resides in a place free from the wind.